morning, everyone. I'm Debbie Walter with Union Public Library. I'm so happy that you're here with us this morning. I hope that you can participate, and we look forward to having you at this event and many others. I'm very, very happy and grateful to Marty Latman, who I describe as the consummate career consultant. He's helped me many times. He's helped so many people many times present our discussion today on dealing with ageism. Marty? One more thing, sorry. If you have questions, put them in chat and we will get to them during the course of the presentation. So thank you again. And Marty Latman, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. We have to now get to the point where we get to the presentation. So just bear with me a second as I come through here. We can do. Okay.
If you have time, put in chat how you heard about today's program. I'm always really eager to hear about that. So if you have time, put it in chat how you heard about today's program.
So there we go. All right, everybody. Today we'll discuss one of the key issues that has come into play relating to job search, and that is ageism. Okay, it's quite prevalent and in today's environment, and it has existed for quite a while. These are the few things I will be discussing as we go through this presentation. Want to really get into what ageism really is. A lot of people heard the term, but do they really understand what it is all about? I'll talk about perceptions of ageism. What are the signs that it does exist in today's workforce? The ways companies really shed older workers because of their age. We'll have a break time, quick time for Q&A, and then we'll talk about the tools that you need to combat ageism. How do you present your age as a strength instead of running away from it? How you could find a position today. The types of positions that might be available for you today. How you could avoid discrimination or ageism on your resume. We'll touch base on that and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, and then at the end, if we have some time, we'll have some other questions, okay? So ageism, really, in today's environment, there is discrimination. Let's just face the facts, it happens every day. And the federal government, when it comes to discrimination, this is what they define discrimination as. When a person is treated unfairly due to race, national origin, gender, disability, religion, sexual orientation, or age. Around these different categories, so to speak, results in many lawsuits against different companies. Okay. Ageism, however, which is part of it, this age, ageism really was first identified in 1968 by Dr. Robert Butler. At the time, he was a Columbia University grad, and he's a founding director of the National Institute of Aging. And what Butler discussed at that time in 68, now how many years ago was that when you look at it, okay? He discussed and termed ageism is the systematic stereotyping of and discrimination against older people because they are old. Well, it sounds somewhat like an oxymoron when you look at it. The question is, what's old? What's a number that's old? Different people look at it different ways. I've given this presentation many times and I keep on hearing different ages. A lot of people say in the 50s, some people say in the 60s. I've heard down into the 30s. And I have to tell you is that I have in one of my groups where the individual is from San Jose, California. And he was telling me that out in California, out in that area, if you're out of your 20s, ageism comes in as a factor. Just think about that when you're out of your 20s. Another term for ageism, what people refer to it as the gray ceiling. And I am proud to be a member of that. Okay, I've earned every one that gray hair I have, and I wear it proudly. So these are the things that you have to keep in mind about ageism. 1968 is when it first came about. Okay. Now, ageism, it's really a perception. It's a perception of the people on the other side of you on what they are thinking, especially the employers. And what their perceptions are as follows. And as I come through with these, ask yourself, is this me? Is this what I'm really about? Person looking at you say, you're less motivated than younger workers. You're less willing to engage in training. You resist change. You're not healthy. You cannot adapt to new technology. You cannot relate to younger workers, and you cannot work with younger workers. You're no longer creative, and you're not loyal to the employer. You're going to jump to different jobs. You're going to be a job hopper. Or you will demand a higher pay. And this is what people on the other end, other side of the desk are thinking when they are speaking with you. Now, think about it. Is this you? Are you less motivated than the younger workers? Do you resist change? Are you afraid of technology? Okay, think about it. Generally, what happens, you could say maybe the last piece over here, demand a higher pay, may be correct, but look at all the experience that you've had. And so that might require a higher pay. We'll come into that later as we have the further discussion. But this is the perception that people have of older workers. This is where ageism comes into effect. It's a perception. So what we have to do is change the perception. The signs that this ageism exists in companies is as follows. The company is only hiring younger employees. And the promotions are mainly the younger employees. The opportunities for further training, further career development is generally offered only to the younger employees, not to you. They plan activities not only in the workplace, but outside the workplace for the younger people. You're not considered in that group. Sometimes when you look at it, the employee handbook, when they talk about different discriminations in the workplace, They talk about disabilities. They talk about gender. They talk about sexual harassment. They'll talk about race. But what they don't talk about is age. And that's a good sign that ageism may be existing in that organization. There's also a harassment, if you want to call it, of the workers, the older workers, for things about when they're ill, they're absent, or they're late. Whereas there's nothing said to the younger workers if they're out of work for a day or so, they're absent, they don't feel well, they come in late. Think about it. And then another key to look for, look at the website. And in looking at the website, do they have older people on the website, or is it just younger people? That could be an indication that ageism exists. Okay. Now, companies, when they generally shed people, okay, it's generally the older workers. And what they do is follows. They eliminate their job. And then once it's eliminated, it might pop back about 6 months later after you're long gone. Layoffs. You're reprimanded for things that others do, and the others aren't reprimanded. The performance reviews that you used to get that were really, really good, they're not as good anymore. They're somewhat satisfactory, or sometimes it might be below satisfactory. And you've done it this way all the time. And now it's all of a sudden it's not good enough. There's a retire now or lose your pension situation. Offering early retirement packages to the older workers. There's a mandatory retirement age. There's a reduction in your job duties for the older workers, a reduction in hours, denying promotions or the opportunities for advancement. And there could be other types of harassment. Now, you might say, well, do companies really do this? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I can tell you this one here, I could look at it from a personal standpoint. My brother was working at his company where he was, and the situation was this. You know, you could retire now at full pay pension. For every year that you continue to work here, the amount of your pension gets reduced. Now, how does that make sense? So why would you continue to work when your pension is going to be less money for every year you work? So he retired. This situation here, I know my wife was in a situation where she worked for a company, and they indicated to people who were over 50, if they worked at this organization for a certain number of years, okay, it was told as follows. Okay, at the end of our fiscal year, what we will be doing, we will reevaluate everyone's position, and we cannot guarantee anyone's position at the end of the year. We're going to start anew. However, inasmuch you have worked for us for so many years, at this point, what we are doing, we are offering you a one-time package, okay, where we will provide X dollars to you, and we will cover the following benefits for you for a period of time. But you have to let us know before our busy season begins. If you will accept the package, it's a one-time deal. If you do not notify us, then at the end of our fiscal year, we will make our evaluation on your job position. 826 people were offered that package. 821 accepted it. 5 people who did not. At the end of the busy season, their jobs were eliminated. And this is a well-known company. So this exists, everybody. Just be aware of it. That's what's out there today. Do I have any questions at this point? Anybody have any questions? Is everybody awake?
Nobody putting any questions in chat.
Okay. All right, fine. We'll continue then. Now, you know, laying this out presents a picture that's not really pretty. What do we do about it? Well, what you have to do, you have to really, you know, face it and attack it. Don't shy away from it, in my opinion. And to do that, these are some of the things you use to combat ageism. One is a positive attitude, okay? You know, you have to show people that, you know, you're quite willing to work. You know what has to be done, okay? Look, negative and depressed people do not get jobs. You have to be positive. People like to be around positive people. So that's number one. You want to have a powerful elevator pitch. Now, I say pitch here, really you need multiple pitches based upon the circumstances and the situation. But you need to have something that's powerful that will explain to people who you are, what you do, and what is your value to them if they would associate with you or hire you. That is the key. You need to have a powerful resume, okay? One that will show the value that you have created in other companies, to show that you are still technically qualified, different things that you do. A resume that will show your achievements that you have made to help organizations move forward, things of that nature. You also want to have a powerful LinkedIn profile. All companies today look at LinkedIn when they start in doing, looking to select individuals for interviews, et cetera. Even though they receive a resume, they'll come back and they'll check the LinkedIn profile. Now, in your LinkedIn profile, you should have a professional picture, a headshot, probably from the shoulders up. I could tell you that on LinkedIn, I've looked at a number of LinkedIn profiles without pictures. Okay, I've looked at some of the pictures, which I'm saying you might as well not have had a picture. Seen with sunglasses, with dogs, cats, people on their boats, people in their hiking gear. You want to have a professional picture headshot. What happens is that on LinkedIn, they did a survey and they found that people with professional pictures are generally selected 70% more than people without a picture. Just think about that. Okay. Other things you need to combat ageism, you really need a clear focus. Where do you want to be and what do you want to do? And we could discuss that. You want to show people that you are energetic, that you still have a lot of energy, you're healthy. Now, you could hike, you could run, you could bike, you could play tennis, you could go golfing, you could do lots of things, but you want to show or project that you're very energetic. And this is the key right here. This one here is probably the most important thing that you need to combat ageism, and that's to be up to date with technology. And what I mean by that is that you should be familiar with some of the platforms that are out there. You should be at least know the Windows, the Microsoft suite, knowing Microsoft Word, Excel. If you know PowerPoint, that'll be helpful. Okay. When it comes to video conferencing, just know some of the platforms that are available to you, like Zoom. Work with it, practice it. There are other types of platforms that you should be aware with and try it, because generally these video platforms, they all perform generally the same things. It's just that the buttons that they have to control it are in different places. You have GoToMeetings, you have Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, Google Plus, I think. There's a number of Microsoft Teams. So you don't have to be an expert at those, but you have to really understand them and be familiar with them.
So Marty, I would just like to say at this point that anyone can go to our library site where we have instructions on how to use those. We have all kinds of resources on how to use those, and also how to do PowerPoint, how to do Excel, all the basic stuff, how to do G Suite. So that's at our library site, www.uplnj.org. I'm sorry.
Very helpful. Debbie, that'd be very helpful to a lot of people. Do they have to make an appointment, or
No,
they do it online?
they do it online from their homes. They can
Okay.
always call and for help on access to it. We also have several databases that are available to people with our library cards. For instance, Learning Express and Data Access, I forgot the name exactly, where you can do great market research. And also you can have all kinds of information about creating a resume, all the basics plus more. There's also job information on there. So call our librarian, we'll be glad to help you out. I'll put the number in chats.
Okay. Debbie, do you also have Reference USA? I think it's called Reference Solutions now.
It's actually called Data Access or something
Data
like
Access, is that what they call it now?
Yeah,
Okay.
as of today. So we have that also, and we'll help talk you through that as well.
That's a very good database, everybody. So get to become familiar with that one. And that helps you. That database specifically could help you, get you a list of target companies, okay? Help you choose the organizations that you might be looking for employment at, okay? And then what you want to do, you definitely want to have a fresh look among, well-groomed, haircuts, your hair a certain way, clothing and the tools that you need. You want to, look the part, so to speak, in today's environment. Okay. So these are the things you need to do to combat ageism. And when it comes to compensation, some companies, when they look at it, they really look at what your worth is, and they'll pay you accordingly. Other ones may not. So what you need to do in your mind, knowing that you're older, some of the opportunities may not be available to you. You may have to compromise on your pay scale, but in doing that, come up with a reasonable compensation package, one that you really feel comfortable with. It will help when you come to negotiations for position. So this really, combats the last perception that people have that you're going to demand a high pay. Okay, you want to know what's reasonable for you. Okay, everybody. Now, how will you present your strength your age as a strength? You want to show people that you're reliable and you're steady in what you do. Okay. You know there's a job to do. You've done it in the past. You know deadlines. You know what you have to do. They have to rely upon you in the past to get the jobs done, and you've done it. You've done it successfully, and you want to convey that. You want to show that you have relevant experience to the position you're looking for, and that, you know, you've done it before. You've been battle tested. These are some of the things you want to talk about. You want to show that you have a strong work ethic. You know that, you know, the job has to be done. You've been there before. You know what kind of hours you have to do to get the job done. You want the hiring manager to feel confident, okay, that you will make them a hero, okay, in the work that you do for them, okay. Show you know, you're healthy, you know, you're a runner, you're a hiker, whatever, okay. Let people know about it. Show people, tell them how you have helped people in different generations in their job success, that you mentored other people, that you work with people in other generations, okay, to help them learn things that you know. You want to show that you're loyal. Hey, I'm here. I want to work with you. I want to stay and work with you. I want to, you know, end my career with your organization. I'm not looking to run to another position. I've researched your organization, and you are the organization that I want to help increase its value. And that's what you want to convey to them. You want to also, as I said before, show them that you're up to date in technology. And some of it will be some of the things that you talk about. You've worked with this platform, you've worked in this, you're really good at Excel, you're good at Word, you can do PowerPoints, etc. And what you also might want to do, if you can, and if you can afford it, wear some of it. You know, wear a Fitbit to an interview if you can. Or if you have a Apple Watch or a Samsung watch or any type of smart watch, have your, you know, your phone with you. Okay. What you might want to do, if you have a tablet, bring a tablet with you and ask if you could, you know, take notes and use the tablet to take the notes. If you're not familiar with how to take notes on a tablet, bring a tablet with you, borrow somebody's tablet, just learn the on off switch and walk in with the switch on. And then as you're talking, say, oh, excuse me, let me turn off my tablet and just turn it off, okay? It's the appearance that you're technically qualified in this situation with a tablet, which makes people feel that, you know, you can do a lot of other technical work. You know, let them know that you're accustomed to working with people of all different age groups, and provide some examples of that. And show them that, you know, you have a maturity and a focus on what has to be done in the workplace. You know, you're not worried on, you know, Wednesday or Thursday nights, what are you going to do on the weekends? You're not going to be distracted on that. You know you have to get the job done, whatever it takes. So these are some of the ways to combat ageism. You know, in finding a job today, these are the things you want to look at. You want to be positive. It's what I call ABP. To always be positive and prepared. Okay, that's number one on the hit parade. You want to look your best. You know, you want to have appropriate clothes. You want to be well groomed. You want to look the part, so to speak. Now, you want to look possibly for young, growing, or startup companies. Now, you might want to say, why do I want to look for that? Well, think about it. The young, and companies that are growing or the startups, they need people with a solid foundation who know what organizations look like. And they need people who know how to get the job done. And that's you. That's you. You've been through a number of organizations. You've come up the ranks. You know what organizations are all about. You know what departments have to do what, things of that nature. These type of companies need people like that to help them grow. So that's one set of groups that you could look for, companies. Another set is look for companies that are not doing well or are relocating, either here, they're relocating into the area, and you could find that out through, if you want to get NJ Biz or ROI, those two magazines will talk about companies coming into or leaving the area. Or you could go to Chambers of Commerce. There's lots of different articles you could read about that. Now, why would you want to work at a company that's having problems or is relocating, especially out of the area? Well, think about this. In this type of situation, what they really need, organizations at this point, they need stabilization. Once a company indicates they are generally moving out of the area and employees are not moving with them, those people, those employees who are not moving with the company, they're going to be looking for new jobs right away, and they're ready to jump ship. So companies need to have people fill in for them when they do leave, and they haven't completed their relocation yet.
Marty, Linda has a question.
Go ahead.
Oh, hi, thanks. I was going to wait till you were asked for questions, but that's okay. I was just curious, after a certain age, is it realistic to apply for a full-time job, or should you be seeking out more contracting positions?
It all depends upon you. Okay. There's no
Okay.
rules here. Okay. It depends upon what you want to do. A number of people, as they get older, they want to spend more time doing other things, traveling if they want, or they have, your grandkids, they want to spend time with their grandkids, whatever, and they don't really want to have a full-time position. Other people really want to have what they had before, working full-time, okay, develop, relationships within the organization. It depends upon the, the individual, Linda. Okay?
Okay. All right, thank you.
No problem. Okay. So, the press companies, they need people who have the experience to turn them around. Yeah. And so, a lot of people who are older have that experience. And so the companies that are, depressed or having problems, they need people who've been there and done that before to help them turn around. So they're looking for people like us. And what you might also want to do is look for companies that hire multi-generation personnel. And you could see that by looking at the website. You could discover that by talking to different people in your network. Okay. When you attend these different networking groups, you could ask them, do you know anything about this company or anything about that company? You could also read many articles about the organizations. Another thing that what you might want to do is that on some of these companies that are public companies, if you take a look at what they call the 10K, that's the annual report that is filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. And companies who are public have to do that once a year. In that report, it reports on the financial performance of the organization this past year. It also has what they call the management discussion and analysis on what happened in the past and where the company is going in the future. It also has generally a list of the executive officers with their names and their ages. And you can get to see when you read through that, what type of employees are hired at this organization. So that's another thing you could do. What you want to do is play up your experience with your success stories. And you can do that in your elevator pitches, on your resumes, etc. We want to create what I call my PAR-Vs. My PAR-Vs are these little stories that talk about a problem that existed at an organization, the action that you have taken, the results of your action to the problem that existed. Most people stop there. I add to it a V, meaning the value to the organization of the results that you achieved by the action that you took to the problem that existed. And you can mix up the PAR-V in different ways. You could start with a value that was added to the company and then back into what the result, why you had the result and what the problem was, etc. But you want to have these success stories, and you can put it in your elevator pitches. You want to use current terminology, the common language that people are using, especially if it's a specific industry. They have certain terminology that you would use. At the same time, think of some of the things that we say that date back to when we were younger. We have these cliches that we've said over the years, like, gee, that's as simple as, it's as simple as sliced bread. Well, I know early on, bread came, when you used to buy bread in the supermarket, it wasn't sliced. And it was a big thing when it became sliced. So use terms that, are more current, that doesn't show your age. Stay current in your profession. That's important. Stay up to date in the latest changes that are happening in the industry that you are in, or the profession that you are following. Be tech savvy in the Microsoft products. That also includes pivot tables, etc. You want to be on the conferencing platform, Zoom. You might also want to have a Twitter account. Now, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to tweet, but if you have an account, you could review what's going on with Twitter and you could become familiar with it. So you want to show people that you are tech savvy. You want to have a LinkedIn profile that's complete, and that's with a professional picture. And what you should do is get recommendations of people who have you worked with or people who you know on some of the things that you do. Okay, how you help different companies, on your core competencies that you have, and try to get recommendations that are relevant to the jobs that you are seeking, and that they're, fairly recent recommendations. I've seen some people who have recommendations that are 5 years old. Okay, that's already dated. You want to get something more current. Okay, so keep that in mind, because what happens when an organization will receive your resume, they're going to go into your LinkedIn profile. And not only are they going to compare what your resume says to what's in the profile, they will also look for other information, and especially the recommendations, because they could see right away from the recommendations what type of individual you are. You might want to consider temporary or part-time employment, like Linda's question. You might want to consider that. when you are on your interviews, I suggest what you do is that you interview as if you are a consultant. And what I mean by that, number one, interviews are not interrogations. They should be conversations. And as a result, to have a conversation, you need to do research relating to the company before your interview. What's the latest things going on in the organization? When the interview is set up, there's certain things you want to find out, basic information before you have the interview, such as, obviously, number one, when will the interview take place? How long do you feel, does the schedule feel the interview will take? If they say it's a half hour and your interview runs an hour, you generally have a good feeling that you've done pretty well. You want to find out where the interview will be. Is it going to be physical, a physical location? If so, where is the location? If it's going to be virtual, on what platform will it be on so you could practice it? Okay. Who will be on the interview with you? The people's name and what their role is in the hiring process. So therefore, you can do research on these people before the interview to learn about them, to learn not only what their work history is, their core competencies are, but also what their interests are, or some of the people they follow, because you can work that into the conversation. And then you do research on the organization, as I say, what's the latest things going on. And then when you come into the interview, you ask questions, okay? And the questions that you ask, I see that your organization is in the process of launching a new product. What do you anticipate will be the results from a financial standpoint of the launch of the product? Where do you feel that the product will have its greatest impact? These are the questions that you ask that cannot be answered by a simple yes or no. These are the questions that create conversations and provide you with information relating to what's going on in the organization. Okay, so ask questions like a consultant. What you want to also do, use your professional organizations for networking. If you're a member of in marketing, you could be in the Meng organization. If you're into pharmaceuticals, it's Chem Pharma. If you're in for manufacturing, it used to be called MAPEX, now it's called ASM, Association of Supply Chain Management. In finance, you have the AICPA, New Jersey Society of CPAs. Okay, you also have the networking groups. You have to speak to them, okay? Speak to, people in your network. Your present colleagues who you just recently worked with, or your past colleagues, even, if you worked with them 10 years ago. Excuse me, speak with them. Tell them your situation. Show them your target companies. Maybe they could give you connections to people within the organizations. Maybe they could give you further information about the companies. You never know. These are the people you want to network with. It helps you find the position. And you can volunteer, okay? What I suggest, what you might want to do in volunteering, try to volunteer into organizations that will, lead towards the type of organization that you want to work at. In volunteering, okay, there's no gatekeepers. Generally, you're there for the same purpose that other people are there, for a common mission. There are executives who volunteer, or hiring managers volunteer, and you can have a regular conversation with them outside of the workplace, and they get to see how you're working. They get to know who you are. So volunteer, that's also good. Okay. And you want to exercise. Okay? Exercise is good mentally and physically for you. Okay? And you should be
Marty?
doing that on a regular basis. Yes.
We have a question. The question is, how do you get up to date on current lingo?
What you can do, depending upon the companies or the industries, okay, you can do a Google search, common terms used in the industry, or you could speak to people within the industry to see what they have to say. And you just hang around them and have conversations with them. Okay?
And we in the library can help you connect to some of these groups. If you're looking for a group that Marty didn't mention, for instance, fundraisers or nuclear scientists or housekeepers, whatever, we can help find that group for you. We can also, our databases also have a lot of trade publications, so we can connect you to one of them and you can read about it online through your library card.
Thank you, Debbie. You know, everyone, the library is very, very helpful to us. And unfortunately, we generally do not take advantage of those, of the library as we should. They have a lot of information. The people who work there have a lot of knowledge, and they could really help you in your job search. So take advantage of them. Yeah.
Thanks,
Another
Marty.
way to find a position is surround yourself with younger people. Okay, as things are easing up, you know, we might have you know, physical seminars or go to the gym, and just, you know, join these people, hang around them, find out what they have to say. Now, the types of jobs for you, bear in mind, in the United States now, you know, the economy is really taking off. It's a real active market at the moment. But at the same time, there's a shift that has been going on for a number of years where manufacturing in the United States is not what it used to be. It used to be really, we used to be a manufacturing nation. We're more of a service nation nowadays, okay? And in looking at it, the types of jobs have changed, and there's certain industries that are currently really active, other ones are not. And what I did is that I went through recently LinkedIn and came up with this. These are the top job positions that, you know, have been appearing in LinkedIn. Just look what they are. These are the jobs that people are hiring for today. You'll see as we go to the next screen, but you know, you could talk generally, there's small to medium-sized companies. They are looking for people who can get the job done, and age is not really a factor. There is more age discrimination in the larger companies. Other types of companies you can work for, private or public organizations. You can do full or part-time. You could be a consultant. You could start your own business where you could own your own store, or you could have your own franchise. These are the service-related companies today that you want to look at. You'll see the industry. You got the healthcare, you got green energy, you have education, and you have technology. These four over here are the hot items today, the hot industries. You could also work in not-for-profits, although in today's environment, not-for-profits are struggling. They're struggling because, number one, the pandemic, and number two, the tax laws that were changed in 2017 basically stopped the donations, or limited the amount of donations a person could deduct on their tax return that they've given to charities. And as a result of it, the not-for-profits have been suffering as a result of it. So in going to not-for-profits, realize generally what will happen. The company generally is struggling. That's generally what's happening now. On LinkedIn today, as I was mentioning, the service-related jobs, especially in the 4 industries that I pointed out, here's a bunch of positions that are open that they're hiring for. Administrative assistant, paralegal, office manager, teacher, driver, tutor, personal shopper, fulfillment specialist, loan coordinator, nurse, medical assistant, physical therapist, personal financial advisors, accountants, bookkeepers, insurance agents, real estate agents, dental hygienist, sales consultant, dietitian, business coach, website developer, writers, podcasters, and software engineers. Okay. When you look at these, you will see that these are service-related type positions. And this is what's happening in today's economy. So, take a look at it, and you could do searches on these, and these might be the type of positions that might be well suited for you. Okay, so think about it as we go through it. How do you avoid age discrimination on your resume? You want to emphasize the last 10 to 15 years. Now I say emphasize the last 10 to 15 years. And what I'm saying is also include your prior experience. You might only list the name of the company, the position, and the dates you were employed going back. Now, in doing this, you might want to say, well, why should I show what's more than 15 years old? Okay. By showing your positions, number one, you have full disclosure. So the people, when you interview, know that you're not, you didn't start your career in 15 years. And generally, people look at resumes, could tell right away. If the first position that you have on your resume is, let's say, a senior manager or up, the question, well, what did you do before that? And you don't want to have surprises. So if you show up and you only have the last 10, 15 years and you worked for about 30 years, that's a surprise to start with. By showing your prior experience, you have full disclosure. And at the same time, by showing the name of the company and the position, you see how you progressed through the ranks over the years. Now, I say put down the dates. Some people say, no, I don't want to put the dates because if I put the dates down, that shows age discrimination. I'm putting out there right away that, I started this when I started. Okay, I'm older, etc. Well, look at it this way. Companies, do you want to work for a company that will discriminate against you because of your age? Not me. By showing this, I'm out there showing this is what I'm all about. If the company doesn't want me because of my age, they see the dates I worked, well, look at what I've saved. I don't have to spend the time prepping for an interview. I don't have to spend time having the interview. I don't have to spend the time waiting for a decision, because if they're not going to hire because I'm older and they discriminate again because of my age, I've saved all that time. I don't want to work there. So it's up to you. But, you want to emphasize, in my opinion, the last 10 to 15 years. I suggest you put your prior work experience You can leave the dates off, it's up to you. But I think by showing your prior experience, you then show your advancements through the ranks and your leadership ability. Highlight your achievements that are still relevant today. Have a separate section, call it major accomplishments, major achievements. And in doing that, show what you've done that's still important today. Some of the things that you might have done 10 years ago may not be relevant today because an app might replace that. It might be that simple, where before when you did it, it was a major accomplishment, but today it's not. So think that through before you put it on your resume. I say do not leave dates off your resume. That's for college or for work. Some people say, well, I'm not going to put my date in my college because people know how old I am. Let me tell you, everybody, anybody on this call, within 5 minutes, I can find out how old you are. You have all the information out there. You put it out through social media. You put it out in some other things that you have already shown that's out there, and how you applied for positions, how you filled out different applications. It's not very difficult to find out how old you are, and companies do that. So why hide it? It's out there. List your competencies on your resume that are relevant to the position. And these could be bulleted. I generally say you should have about 12 bullets on things that you do, organization, leadership, analysis, things of that nature, communications, things. So people look at, these are the skill sets that you have, and list them in one area, okay? In today's email addresses that you use, stay away from AOL. Now you might have an AOL account, which is okay, using it, for your personal emails. But in the business, right away, if somebody sees AOL, right away it's old. So instead, what you might want to do, and it's also helpful during your job search, create a Gmail account. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you have a Gmail account, use that for all your job search. So all your correspondence relating to your job search will be in one place, and you could keep it there. On your resume, when you're showing your phone number, forget the parentheses, forget dashes, show it this way. This is how, in today's environment, people show their numbers. Show your LinkedIn and Twitter addresses, your URLs. Okay, let them know that you're out there. It helps that, you're technically qualified. You have a LinkedIn account. And if you have a Twitter account, oh, okay, this person is really involved in social media. They must know a lot of things technically, technology-wise. So do that. And avoid what I call the red flags on your resume. 26 years in an industry. What happens in your 27th year if you're still in search? 26 years, 25 years. Don't put the number of years there, okay? So you might want to put other terms, okay? Highly experienced in the industry, something of that nature, right? To just wrap up, just remember this, ageism exists in today's workplace. Recognize that ageism, what it really is, it's a perception of others about you, things that are negative about you, okay? You're not loyal, you're not healthy, you demand a higher pay, you're not reliable, you're not creative, okay? You're not willing to work with younger groups, okay? Present your age as a strength, everybody. Everyone here has accomplished some really great things, and use it. Show your age, that based upon your age and what you have done, okay, you are a reliable worker. You know how to get things accomplished. You could train other people, okay? They don't have to spend time investing in you to educate you because you've done that before. And you could hit the road running and you could solve their problems, okay? Develop your tools, your target companies. The more target companies you have, the more focused you will be in your search. Look for the positions you want. Examine the different types of jobs that are available to you today. ABC, everyone. Always be connecting to new people and stay connected to the people you already have in your network. Contact the people in your network at least once a year. Find out what's going on with them. ABP, always be positive. Negative and depressed people do not get hired. And be prepared, because your opportunity could happen at any time. An opportunity can be presented to you by speaking to someone in the grocery line, someone at the hair salon, okay? Someone that you meet at a networking group meeting. So just be prepared. It could happen at any time. And remember this, these are the two most important words you need to carry with you. It depends. Because your actions that you take are dependent upon the circumstances that are currently in existence, okay? And they are usually unique. There are no rules to networking. There is no rule as for job search. You need to be creative. You need to think on your feet. You need to think strategically. So generally what happens, your action are based upon something that has already happened, and you have to adjust accordingly. So be creative, think strategically, be unique. And finally, remember this, you will land if you want to land. If you keep on pursuing it, you will land. Okay? Everybody lands, everybody. You just have to stay at it. If you'd like me to help you, you can engage me if you want, or just talk to me. This is my cell number, which is the best place to get me, 201-919-2607. And this is my email where you could reach me at all the time. This is my website. Okay, and this is my LinkedIn URL. In the chat, I already put in my contact information. If you want to contact me, I am here for you. If you would like copies of the presentation, feel free to send me an email. I'm more than happy to share it with you. And
Marty,
with
maybe you can send it to me,
okay, I can send it to you, no
and
problem.
I'll distribute it to everyone. I'm sorry for the echo. I don't know what that's about.
Don't worry about it, Deb. We're
Okay, so first of all, I want to thank Marty for coming, and then I want to say we'll take some questions. But before, I really do want to thank you, Marty, and you have more information than anybody I know. And I would definitely encourage people to contact you. I've contacted Marty when I've been a job seeker, and I know how helpful he can be, and he is. So I also just want to put in my quick plug for the library. If you live, work, go to school in Union, call us up and we'll help you get a library card. If you want to know more about the library and what we're doing here, go to our website, uplnj.org. Go to and sign up for our newsletter at our website, or go to like us on Facebook, check us out on YouTube, where this meeting will be taped. I'm going to stop taping it now so people can feel more comfortable asking questions. And I want to thank Marty again, and we will start with questions now. Thank you, Marty. Do you see the question in the chat?
Could you put up your contact information again, please?